This episode of Important If True is brought to you by Warby Parker. Stylish eyeglass and sunglasses sent right to you. And if you go to warbyparkertrial.com/thumbs, you can get 5 pairs of frames sent to your house so you can choose the one you like and look the most stylish. That is warbyparkertrial.com/thumbs. I always try and say it Warby, so it's clear that it's spelled W-A-R.
Yeah.
Because I sometimes worry if I say Warby, it'll be like W-O-R.
Or they'll think that it's like about war.
Yeah. It's... If you go to Warby Parker.
War by Parker.
Don't worry, everyone. It's not a military thing.
If you go to war.mil. No one uses .mil.
Top websites with mil. You got the top one, army.mil.
Yep.
Navy.mil, DFAS.mil, and AF.mil.
That's Air Force, Chris.
Oh.
That's as fuck. That's like so that, you know, the different other military branches can register subdomains to market to millennials. Army.af.mil. It's May 11th, 2017.
And this is Important If True.
From Idle Thumbs, I'm Chris Remo.
I'm Nick Brecken.
I'm Jake Rodkin. Hey, guys.
Hey.
Hey, welcome to this podcast. That's really good.
Yeah, thanks. I appreciate that. Welcome.
It's been a while.
More specifically, welcome back, Chris.
Yeah, thanks. I've been gone for 2 weeks. Not that you'd
Not
know.
that no one knew, though.
Yeah.
I can tell because you seem chipper and full of discussion topics.
Do I?
I can't tell. I genuinely can't tell.
Yeah. I feel
You look
like
like the same.
you're trying to subtly tank the opening of this podcast.
No.
by continuing to insert dumps into it.
No, Chris, I would never insert dumps.
Okay, that's fair enough.
Only Demps.
Only dumps.
Only dumps.
Dumps only. Yeah.
All right.
How are you doing, Nick?
I'm doing great.
Is that true?
No.
I didn't think so. You cracked a rib?
Yeah, or bruised, cracked. It doesn't seem to. There's no difference apparently.
Yeah.
You
From
can't really
coughing?
tell. Or the other thing I did is I went to the gym, which apparently is just where I go to die.
I either coughed or I got too huge.
Well,
I dropped barbells on my chest. That could have been it.
yeah.
But also, I coughed a few times.
I mean, I went back after having been sick for 2 weeks. And sort of over-enthusiastically, I thought, I'll just do what I was doing before I was sick for 2 weeks.
Yeah.
Left the gym, and I felt fine for about 2 days.
Yeah.
And now that's just been replaced by an intense pain in my chest that, like... But then the cough that I have from my current illness still exists. Mm-hmm. And so about midnight, when my body just decides to turn into a disaster, the cough now... creates a spike of pain from the cracked rib that is just like this. It's basically, I feel like I'm never going to be not ill because I feel like each new thing will cause another thing to degrade in my system, and then I'll just eventually die.
I mean, that's
true. Yeah, that's not untrue.
Yeah.
I also went to the gym yesterday after having been on vacation for 2 weeks and decided to just carry on as though nothing had happened. And I don't have any broken ribs, I don't think. But I do. My entire body is just in pain now.
Yeah.
Yesterday I felt great. After I'm like, wow, that was fine. That was totally easy. No big deal. And then I woke up this morning and it's a disaster.
Yeah. There's always a delay. There's like that time where you think, oh, I did it. Like,
yeah.
This is perfect. I went to the gym. I knocked it out. Mm-hmm. And then your body's like, oh, no. No, what did you do, you idiot? Mm-hmm. As if it just wasn't there in the first place.
Yes.
To notice.
Yep.
Yeah.
It's bad. And now I'm back to do a podcast.
Cool.
And we were downstairs before we were doing the podcast. And I found myself, like, reading this box of Triscuits. And there's...
Okay. An important insight into the prep for every Important True episode.
Yeah. Well, I've realized I've seen the recipe on this Triscuit box a ton of times, but it never occurred to me how stupid
you never
it is.
absorbed it.
So the name
fully.
of the recipe is Veggie Paninis, and paninis is in quotes.
Okay.
It's in like scare quotes.
That's because
I
they're
guess,
Triscuits.
to suggest that this is
Spoiler.
We all know this is
Yeah.
a fucking panini. And then it further occurred to me, this isn't really important necessarily,
But it's
I
true.
realized that they said paninis, and then I thought, well, panini is probably a plural itself because it ends in an I and it's Italian.
Yeah.
So I think panino might be, I think is the singular.
Veggie Panino is a fucking character.
God,
Yeah.
You know what you need to do?
That's why it's in the air quotes.
Somebody needs to write into Triscuits, point that out, and then we need to come back a year from now and find the box in the correction. I feel like we could start a campaign to get them to change it to Panino.
Look, Triscuit, this should be Veggie Paninos. I know you put the quote.
Well, no, I mean, it could be veggie panino
No.
to make one of them.
No.
Or
it should be Veggie Panino, apostrophe S's, Veggie, quote, Paninis. Okay,
You know what
sorry.
they're gonna do? They're just gonna make it Paninos. Because
No, yes.
Totinos.
The way
like,
that the full post-correction version of this shitty panini recipe on the Triscuit box should be, quote, Veggie Paninos, because it's obviously a guy named Veggie Paninos, but his nickname is Veggie.
Yeah.
Right.
And then it's his Veggie, quote, Paninis. And then it's like, it's because it's on a Triscuit. And, that's it. So I
Take it from me.
Veggie Panino. No, he doesn't have the S.
Sorry.
yeah.
Sorry, his name is Veggie Panino.
Yeah, it's
Right.
his.
These are his.
Veggie
Well, it's
Panini.
Veggie
Paninis.
Panini. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yes.
okay, sorry.
Veggie
all
Paninos apostrophe at the end.
clear. Yeah.
No!
All right, moving on. Moving on from that. That isn't actually the thing about this that was notable to me, although clearly we figured out the actual source of this recipe. The thing that was sort of notable to me when I looked at it is, one, this is like ostensibly a recipe. Like, this is described as a recipe. In other words, something that you like follow instructions to create and
Right.
like accrue ingredients and then assemble in some kind of culinary fashion. And it says what you'll need: 4 deli-styled mozzarella cheese slices cut into 9 pieces each. That is so specific. Like,
Yeah.
what you'll need is some cheese.
Sorry,
Like,
you're
that's-
actually summoning the demon of Veggie Panino. with this. You'll also need chicken's blood and his favorite food, Triscuits.
Yeah.
Brand crackers.
So already this is really weirdly ambitious given the fact that, like, you're just putting some shit on a Triscuit, right? Like, that's
Yeah.
the entire recipe. Anyway, 4 deli-style mozzarella cheese slices cut into 9 pieces each, okay? 36 Triscuit original crackers. Again, pretty sure that could just be the number of Triscuits you want. Like, just some Triscuits.
No.
The Triscuits in this box. The only reason I point all that out is because the next 2 ingredients are 1 small zucchini cut into 18 slices, grilled, and 18 thin roasted red pepper strips. Who the fuck who is following the recipe for veggie, quote, paninis on the back of the Triscuit box is going to buy a zucchini, cut it into 18 slices, and then grill it?
You're so upset by this.
What the hell? That's not even part of it. They don't even include the instructions of how to grill the zucchini in the recipe. Who is handy in the kitchen and like grilling zucchini? Who's even consuming zucchini recreationally? Who's like, I definitely am going to consult the Triscuit Corporation to concoct this recipe. Let me just get my 18 sliced grilled small zucchinis. Oh yeah, by the way, zucchini, there's another plural I. That's unrelated to
That's from
anything I was
Grill
just
Zucchino.
saying. Anyway, I just saw this and the sort of like there's like a level of presumptuousness I feel displayed by the author of this recipe that is.
Well, what's the final step?
Well, then it says
Put them together?
Yeah, I mean,
Eat
it's, you
Shove it in your
right? I mean,
face.
it's
Do you have to press them in a panini press?
That's my question. I was getting at this because
Right. Okay,
a
well-
panini, by definition, is a pressed sandwich.
So it
but they're
says-
using a Triscuit.
Yeah, that's why it's in quotes.
The idea of veggie paninos paninis actually reminds me of an email that a reader sent in because what it actually reminds me of, if we have paninos paninis, I feel like we're getting very, very close to Wetzel's Pretzels territory.
Okay.
And there is some...
As discussed on, I don't know, 2 episodes ago, maybe?
Yes, Wetzel, the founder of Wetzel's Pretzels, Important If True reader Danny writes in, "Hi, Important If True. I was just listening to the discussion in episode 9 about Wetzel's Pretzels, during which Chris expressed disbelief in the idea that a guy named Wetzel just happened to become interested in pretzels independently of his name, which is the cited story of Wetzel's Pretzels.
That's bullshit.
You may be interested to hear that there is research that suggests there may have been a link between his name and his chosen profession.
Research?
In 2002, a paper...
It's called bullshit already.
No. In 2002, a paper in the journal... In the Journal of Attributes and Social Cognition.
I guarantee this paper is going to deserve to be called a paper the same way this fucking thing deserves to be called a panini.
No way, this is good. You'll enjoy this.
Okay.
You're being very skeptical.
I am.
Who knows how truly vetted this study is, but it's
already walking back from it, I see.
Okay, here's a 2002 paper in the Journal of Attributes and Social Cognition found that people with names like Dennis are more likely statistically to end up working as dentists than people with other names.
Oh my god. Oh no.
Yes.
Well, people
I
with names
everything.
Yeah.
I love this.
Well, people with names like Lauren are more likely to be lawyers.
No. Yes, I love it.
Other studies found that this applies to where you live. People named Virginia and Georgia are 36% more likely to live in Virginia and Georgia.
Fuck you.
While people named Lewis are more likely to live in St. Louis.
This is so lame. That is not quite the same because that's like if you're born in Virginia, your parents might name you after
they
your
just
state.
love your state.
But I think that it also may apply.
Not that makes
it may
those
apply
people
to
any less lame.
Yeah, no, and it also gets into things like the date of your birthday is like people are drawn to numbers that relate to numbers related to them, and it's all sort of about just self-positive reinforcement and sort of like in a weird latent way. But so the idea that Wetzel, by being named Wetzel, so the idea that someone named Veggie Panino may have in fact been drawn to create the recipe for veggie paninis, academically sound.
God, that is incredible. People named Dennis or Denise overrepresented among dentists.
Yes.
Incredible. That's so lame. People are disproportionately likely to live in cities whose names begin with their birthday numbers. For example, Two Harbors, Minnesota. So if they were born in like February. That's ridiculous. We live in a computer simulation. It's true.
Yeah.
Although I don't know why you would code that behavior into your simulation.
For some reason, it's saving memory somewhere.
Yeah.
But I guess the hypothesis is that this is implicit egotism in life decisions.
Yes.
That is so weird. Now I want to know what all of our stupid, self-obsessed bullshit is with our names. That is fascinating.
Yeah.
Also, just to sort of put a capper on the Triscuit thing, I just noticed just now, I turned the box 90 degrees, and on the side of the box...
It says, Triscuit Remo loves these.
There's an alternative recipe here, which I feel like is much more in the spirit of Triscuits and anyone looking to create a recipe from Triscuits.
Throw the Triscuits in your mouth, then pour the Triscuit dust from the bottom of the bag down your throat, then go to sleep. You did not eat dinner.
Yeah, that's me before this podcast. Step 1, spread on garlic and herb cheese. 2, top with halved cherry tomatoes. 3, garnish with parsley. Which, step 3, I'm going to say, is just I think a face-saving exercise here to disguise the fact
Make it look presentable that you smeared cheese on a cracker.
Yeah, we all know no one garnishes with parsley on a Triscuit, ever. Anyway, if you've ever grilled a zucchini cut into 18 slices on a veggie panini Triscuit, I want to hear about it, because I don't believe you. Unless your name is Veggie or whatever.
Unless your name is Veggie
Your name is Zucchino or some bullshit, whatever the hell.
Then you really love them.
Mm-hmm. Shall we read a reader mail here?
Yeah.
Okay.
These Triscuits are out of date.
Oh, fuck.
In the trash.
Yeah, well, they're in me now, so that's accurate enough.
Oh, sorry, that recipe was recalled. It was impossible to make.
The FDA,
Veggie Panino.
the FDA has determined 16 slices of zucchini, much more appropriate. Okay, Dustin writes, Dear Important If True, I was recently on a solo trip to a remote cabin in the woods of Finland, an expedition I was ill prepared for. The cabin had no running water or electricity, attributes that attracted me to the location. My goal was to escape humanity for a few days and take some time out of life to think. This was quickly forgotten, however, as I arrived in the middle of a snowstorm. I was expecting it to be warmer at the start of May. To my dismay, the fireplace and candles did not provide as much illumination as I had anticipated. I carry a pretty decent flashlight with me and proceeded to cook some semblance of dinner with the flashlight clutched between my teeth. The flashlight, a ThruNite T12, has several different brightness modes, the highest pumping out more than 1,000 lumens.
Jesus.
I carry it with me at night through the city as a self-defense tool. A blast to the face of 1,000 lumens will blind anyone for a few moments. As a first-time solo camper, I made multiple newbie mistakes. Before going to bed, I blew out all the candles in the cabin, leaving only the fire to illuminate the room and keep me warm. I woke in the middle of the night, freezing. I opened my eyes to pitch black darkness. It was as though I hadn't opened my eyes at all, and it was extremely disorienting. Terrified, I reached for my flashlight and clicked it on, forgetting that I set it to self-defense mode before going to sleep should anyone or anything break down my door. The bright and brilliant light instantly blinded me. My first and immediate thought upon being blinded by my own flashlight? Hoisted. Are there times you've set out on an expedition woefully unprepared? Alternatively, what are some times you drove yourself nuts imagining your own horror movie? I kept thinking about looking over the cabin window and seeing some dark figure staring in at me. I found a firewood chopping axe outside the cabin and set it next to my bed just in case. Best wishes, Dustin in Berlin.
I appreciate being sent an email about a self-hoisting.
Yeah.
Yeah,
It's very good.
I mean, I guess all hoistings are self-hoistings.
No.
Yeah.
No.
You're hoisted... yes.
Yeah, hoisted by your own petard. It has purchase because one would imagine you would be hoisted by someone else.
Yeah, but
But in those moments where you hoist yourself,
you just say
it is
hoisted.
especially shameful.
Yeah.
I hoisted myself, for instance, when I ate these expired Triscuits without properly preparing the veggie panini.
Yeah, you see, people,
Then at least some percentage of the food I ate would not have been expired.
people
Right.
traditionally make veggie, quote, paninis out of expired Triscuits to sort of hide that they've gone stale when they have guests.
Yeah. One time I embarked on an expedition for which I was woefully unprepared, which was attempting to record this podcast. I had one box of expired Triscuits
Yeah.
and no veggie paninis.
That email reminds me of a time that I tried to meet my parents in West Virginia to go skiing at the largest ski mountain in West Virginia, which is, I think, basically like smack dab in the middle of the most mountainous region of West Virginia.
Oh, man.
And I had never been to West Virginia. It's a state that you can just kind of easily skirt around if you're on the East Coast trying to get west. Like none of the interstates really run through West Virginia. But I was living in Maryland at the time. And so I got off of work.
So this was not long ago.
Yeah, it was like 4 or 5 years ago.
Okay, yeah.
So I got off of work at like 9 o'clock
PM?
Like really late.
Wow, okay.
And but I had to meet them because it was a weekend trip. And so I thought, all right, I guess I'm just going to do this.
Yeah.
How hard can it be to just drive through West Virginia? I've got my modern phone that has a GPS on it.
Right.
Clearly, I'll be totally set. I'll just enter in this ski mountain in the middle of West Virginia. Okay. The horrible, horrible idea to depend upon a GPS when you're driving into the most mountainous region on the East Coast. Instantly, I lost all reception on my phone.
Of course.
As it would sort of like come back occasionally, it was only long enough to just get text messages from my family saying like, "Are you okay? Are you lost? Like, where are you?" Eventually, my phone battery just completely died. There was a point where I was driving along this twisting road that the speed limit was like 70 miles an hour. So I was trying to do that because there were all of these like pickup trucks that were behind me, and this was like midnight.
All packed to the hilt with killers. murderers.
No, I was like, God, these guys are going like 80 miles an hour. If I do 60, there's no way for them to pass me because it's all winding turns. They're just going to get pissed.
And
like,
murder you.
Well, yeah, I don't know. So
You're going to pull over to let them go by. They're going to drive past you. Then they're just going to back right the fuck up.
Yeah,
and you're going to get Zodiac.
Yeah, it's going to totally be a Zodiac situation. They're going to creepily drive by you and then stop and slowly back up and then hoisted.
Right. So I'm like, well, I've got to go 80 to get away from them and to like keep pace. And so I'm doing like 80 with no GPS.
This is actually stressing me out.
No guardrails. And occasionally my headlights, I would sort of like see, like they would illuminate just enough past the road to see that there was just a cliff down, and no guardrails, just nothing.
Yeah.
Just a cliff and like 1,000 trees that would just instantly impale me if I like spiraled off into the wilderness. So I'm driving and I make this turn that's like a fairly dicey turn, and I'm doing like 60, and then there's a herd of deer just right in front of me.
Wow.
I don't think I actually like turned the wheel at all. I just kept driving and I split.
What?
I split 2 deer by I'm telling you, it was probably like a couple of inches.
Wow. I can't believe
between
I've never
me
heard this
and
before.
I almost died. Like I actually almost died. So then when I almost
So
died,
did those deer.
I pulled over at this weird diner, and there were all these people that were there at like midnight.
Killers.
There was a guy playing the banjo.
I mean, kind of. It was. They all looked at me like, "Oh, he's not from here," and I was like, "Oh Christ!" And my phone doesn't work, and like I pulled over for no reason.
Yeah,
so I guess I have to just keep
murderer?
going.
You kept sort of
We're
looking
all
at.
murderers.
Yeah, you just hear the sort
That's
of
what was in
mumbled
my head.
conversation, and then you just see on some guy's left get hoisted.
Looks like we got a hoisting, boys. This young fellow's looking to get hoisted.
Hoist him.
Ain't you, Sonny?
Yeah. So then I kept driving, and my phone was completely dead at this point. I had no way to recharge it.
Keep going. Drive away, boy.
So I basically did. I just kept driving, and I thought, well, at some point, I'm gonna find a major interstate that will,
Sure you will.
have to have some kind of like general like east-west direction that I can like right myself. And at this point, it's like 1 a.m. and I'm thinking my parents probably think I'm dead. This is horrible. Like they're gonna like come out looking for me.
They're not wrong.
And I finally find this like 8-lane super highway in the middle of West Virginia, but it's still just as rural as it was.
Yeah.
Like the landscape is just the same, but there's just like 8 lanes. And now because it's 1 a.m., there's nobody
Pick one.
on it.
Pick one, Sonny.
So I get on this 8-lane highway, and I'm like, well, shit. There are no off ramps. There's nothing, and I have to really use the bathroom. I may as well just pull over. And I pull over, and I get out of the car. And I look up, and it's just, like, beautiful. There are just, like, 1,000 stars. Like, it was actually the most amazing sky I've ever seen in my life. It was just dead silent, perfectly quiet, and I was just sort of, like, appreciating, like, the wilderness, and it was, like, a really beautiful moment. And then I hear in the distance the rumbling of, like, 30 off-road vehicles slowly approaching, and then I hear hooting and hollering.
What?
Like, woo, boy!
It's all happening.
Yeah!
Hoist them!
Woo! Yeah! Woo! And I'm like, oh, fuck! And so I just get, like, back in the car.
They're not chasing after you! There's no reason why!
It was, like, you have to, like...
Hoist them, boys!
It was echoing off the mountains. I had no
This
idea
boy
where they
done
were.
hoisted himself!
Like, it sounded like it was coming from over
We're
there.
gonna finish the job.
It could have been coming from over there. Like, I had no idea. And so I just start then I'm doing like 80 down this highway, and I keep looking in my rearview mirror like, oh my God, where are they? Like, what's gonna happen? I'm like running low on gas. I still can't contact my parents. Eventually I get in the vicinity of this ski mountain, and I notice I'm still probably like 30 miles away, and it's just farms and like dense woods. And I notice this car. It's like 2 a.m. and I see this car coming at me, and I'm like, I think that's my dad. But there's no way for me to like flag him or anything without looking like insane or just like literally chasing after him. And then I get to the ski mountain finally at like 3 a.m. and my mom's like, oh my God, I thought you were dead. Your father's out looking for you. And I'm like, what? He's just out looking for me in West Virginia. He's gonna get killed by all those people. Where does he go? What? And it was he didn't get back till like 5 a.m. It was a disaster.
And then he's like, I sent like 30 guys in trucks after you. All of our friends rented ATVs at great expense and went all across the terrain.
They were all driving 80 as fast as they tried to look everywhere they could.
They were yelling, Nick.
Hoist him.
They were yelling, hoist him.
Hoist him, like,
Just,
what I used to say to you as a child.
Wow.
Yeah, it was pretty. It was
Congratulations
actually very intense. The
surviving.
more I remember it.
Yeah.
And then we got there, and the ski mountain had no snow, and then there was almost a hurricane. I mean, it was just like a dozen tornadoes.
So this is a true
on
hoisting.
the top of a mountain.
Yeah.
The next day, we were literally like hiding under tables and shit. It was the worst vacation I've ever. Anyway, in juxtaposition to your amazing vacation, Chris.
Yeah.
Enjoy the story of my getting owned.
Man, I got totally nearly hoisted in a car. Well, actually, a number of times. I would say that the expedition for which I was woefully underprepared was being an adolescent with access to a car. I would say that that put me in more completely self-hoisted situations than should have allowed me to make it to adulthood. Definitely.
What did you do with your car?
I was just incredibly irresponsible with my friend. It was just my friends and I were terrible. But this example, which I just comes to mind because it reminds me of a sort of different angle on yours, was actually
one time we all rented ATVs.
I actually wasn't driving in this instance. This was my friend Tyler in his like Toyota 4Runner or whatever. He had this like ancient 4Runner that we would all drive around in, and I was in the back seat with my friend Kyle, and I had an acoustic guitar, and we would drive. And then our friend Scott, I believe, was in the front seat, passenger seat, and we would just all be driving around San Diego, where I grew up, and we would stop at stoplights. This was just one particular night. We'd stop at stoplights next to the car, and we would roll our window down, and then I would play the guitar, and then Kyle and I would like sing, would like serenade people in the car. Because we thought this was hilarious, because
right.
that's the kind of bullshit that a certain idiot thinks is funny. And so at one point we're at a red light, and we have the windows down, and we're like serenading the people in the car to our right, and they roll their windows down, and it's these like huge dudes, and they're like, what the fuck is this? And we're like, oh, haha, like. Boo, like
We are but humble teen nerds.
And they were like, fuck you. And we're like, oh, what? Oh, no. That's fine. And then one of them got out of his car.
Oh, shit.
Yeah. Walked over to the driver's side window and just punched it as hard as he could. And we heard this like crunch. And we're like, oh, shit. And so Tyler just like slams on the gas, like runs the red light from the thing. They get back in their car and take off after us.
Oh, man.
As fast as they can.
Oh my God.
So we're just like driving through the streets of San Diego, pursued by
A bear.
pursued by bear. Yeah, definitely hoisted.
Yeah.
And it was intense. It was probably half an hour. We like at one point we like turned into a parking lot. It was late at night. We always were out like late at night. It was probably, I don't know, midnight, maybe 1, I don't know. And we pulled into a, San Diego has a lot of like just outdoor shopping centers. So we pull into one of those and we try and like evade them. There aren't that many cars in because it's really late at night. So there's like smatterings of cars. So there's not, we didn't think there was going to be a huge risk of like hitting a car, except they then caught on to what we were doing and forked off of where we were going and cut us off directly at the end of a lane to the point that we almost T-boned them like in the side of their car. So we get out of here.
So you're just in the Blues Brothers at this point.
Yeah. We called 911 and we're there on the phone with
Jesus.
With the 911 dispatcher, and we're like, this is crazy. Like what do we do? And they're like, well, have they harmed you? And we're like, well, they hit our car. They're like, well, have any of you been injured? We're like, no. And they're like, well, we can't there's not really anything we can do specifically about this right now. There aren't any.
The fact that the guy got out of his car and punched your car and then chased you.
They're like, there aren't any officers in your area right now. And we're like, what?
Please hold.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And we're like, oh my God, this is crazy. And so we were like keeping them on the line. And they're like, well, let us know if anything happens. And we're like, can we give you the license plate number? It turns out the license plate of their car, it was a stolen car that they were in. And that fact notwithstanding, they still were unwilling to send.
We found a stolen car.
Yeah.
I like a guy in a stolen car is chasing us aggressively.
Yeah.
Irrelevant.
Yeah. We were eventually.
We saw a bloody murder weapon in the front seat of the car. Nah, it's fine.
Yeah. Have they attacked you with the bloody murder weapon?
Right. Yeah.
We were eventually able to lose them by doing an illegal U-turn at a red light and like just immediately taking a turn after that, and then they lost us. And you know the fucked up thing? We from there drove to the Jack in the Box that we all used to hang out at all the time, and because again, and in the same little center as the Jack in the Box was a 7-Eleven, and I swear to God, parked in the parking lot of that 7-Eleven were 3 squad cars with cops all sitting around, I shit you not, eating donuts.
And they all turned to you and said, looks like he done hoisted.
Yeah.
You went, oh.
Yeah, it was too stupid for words.
That's amazing.
So that was one of our nights. We had a lot of stupid nights in cars as teens. You guys want to take a break?
Uh-huh.
Let's do it.
This episode of Important If True is brought to you by Quip. Yeah, Quip.
I've heard of them from a podcast.
I know you have. They make really nice, just very compact, very straightforwardly designed and effective electric toothbrushes. And if you go to tryquip.com/thumbs, you can get your first brush head refill for $10 off. That'll just take it. That'll make it $0. It's great. They send you new brush head refills every 3 months, so you don't end up with that frayed, flayed, pooched electric toothbrush brush head.
It's not frayed. It's not flayed. It's not pooched.
Not with the refill. I just got back from a 2-week trip with my Quip toothbrush, and it was really nice to be able to have an electric toothbrush that is so compact.
Get home and throw the shit out of that brush head.
Yeah.
Just throw it right in the
Slam
trash.
a new brush head right in there.
Slam it in there.
Yeah.
I always feel weird using my toothbrush, like if I take it on a trip, and then I come home and I don't have another toothbrush to like change out. It's the only time I'm like cognizant of the fact that I've used my toothbrush
because you got those
for that
weird
long.
like foreign germs. What does that mean?
No. It's the only time I think about how like, oh, I've been using this toothbrush for like 2 weeks. It's kind of gross
time
now.
For you?
Well,
how often do you replace your toothbrushes?
I'm just saying that's probably a toothbrush that I was using originally.
Oh,
I'm home. It's gone the distance with me.
I see.
Maybe.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, fortunately with Quip, they've got that refill schedule locked in. So no matter what kind of weird tricks your brain is playing on you, you know that when it's time to swap out that brush head for a nice, pristine, unpooched one, it'll be in the mail for you.
Be there waiting for you, maybe.
It may well be waiting for you when you get home. Yeah. If you go to tryquip.com/thumbs, you can get that $10 off your first brush head refill. We also have a shout out this week.
Yay.
It is a joyful occasion because
shout outs
this
are good.
Comes on behalf of Rhino Ride 2017, a fundraiser for the conservation of Africa's most endangered animal.
Rhinos. It's rhinos.
You got it. Nailed
Nice.
it.
Got it in one.
Yeah. So this is a cool thing. There's a former safari guide, Mike Meyer, who is biking down the Pacific coast from Canada to Mexico with a 300-pound rhino statue.
Yeah, a good novelty thing to carry around behind you on a bicycle, I guess.
Yeah, that is hardcore. Rhinos apparently are poached at an incredibly distressing rate that will make them potentially extinct by 2030 if no one does anything about it. And so you can go to rhinoride.org and sponsor this wacky rhino statue ride.
Yeah, you can sponsor by the mile, like a sort of classic race running sponsorship thing. You can sponsor at a fixed rate, or if you sponsor at, I think, $250 or up, you can enter a raffle to win a 12-day safari / vacation through Southern Africa.
Crazy. I didn't realize it was that.
Yeah, because the Rhino
intense.
Ride is sponsored by a travel and safari agency called Piper and Heath.
That's cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, so go to rhinoride.org. This seems like a totally good and admirable aim. All the dollars earned go directly to I think 3 different African conservation
it's
organizations.
The Save the Rhino Trust, Care for the Wild Rhino Orphanage, and an community education group in Kenya. So it's all. There's a lot more details about that on their website. I know whenever you hear that there's a charitable event, you want to find out what the heck it actually means, and rhinoride.org has a ton of info about it.
There you go.
Cool.
All right.
Thanks, Rhino Ride.
Thanks, Rhino Ride. If you would like to put a shout out on this show, either personal or commercial, find all the details at store.idlethumbs.net.
Yeah. We'll promote your insane charitable thing where you cart a giant statue across the country, or we'll do whatever. Who's to say?
Or we'll just, dump on your friend.
Yeah. Or, on Nick, who's not here for this ad.
That's true.
He can't even hear this.
How dare he? We are back.
Hey!
Hi.
Hey, welcome back.
Hi.
You want to do some more email here?
Yeah.
Speaking of which, you can send us email at questions@importantiftrue.com. If you have any questions about anything going on, if things are confusing you, if you need some advice or perspective, hit us up. questions@importantiftrue.com. Here is some information from reader Alex, who is following up on our discussion of Cars, which at this point was a while ago, right? That was maybe episode 2 or something?
2 or 3, yeah.
Yeah, something like that. Alex writes, I was recently reading something that I think might be relevant to your collective interests. Specifically, it was what Jay Ward, creative director of Pixar's Cars franchise, had to say about the world of the films and how and why the titular cars came to be the only sentient entities on the planet. Quote, imagine in the near future when the cars keep getting smarter and smarter, one day they just go, why do we need human beings anymore? They're just slowing us down. It's just extra weight. Let's get rid of them. End quote. In case you're wondering how each car has motivations, desires, fears, and complex interior lives like human beings do, he also claims that, quote, the car takes on the personality of the last person who drove it. Quote. And he also cared to touch on why in the films we'll, quote, never see the doors open. Quote. Another quote begins. Because the brain and the eyes are in there. We don't want anything falling out of the side. End quote. I hope you guys find at least some of this concerning or interesting. I love the podcast, and I would endorse it 1,000 times over. Regards, Alex.
So
This
the
is
last person who
nightmarish.
drove it that's implying
There's a
that's implying
finality.
that car killed that person then.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Usually
And then
when-
stole its personality.
If you were to typically in like a normal sentence or any kind of conversation be like, oh, the last person to drive that car, you would just mean the most recent person
Right.
who happens to have
The
driven it.
final person.
But this is like literally that person was ended and no more people also exist anywhere.
it was the person that car killed and took on its personality.
Yeah.
So, okay.
God, what a weird concept.
It's not a weird concept because we've talked about this on the podcast before.
Well,
we
I don't know
talked
if that
literally about self-driving cars. That
Assuming the identities of humans, though, that's the part
we got
that's
one
throwing
step
me for a
away from
loop.
that. I feel like this actually.
I don't remember what you're talking about.
Okay, we talked about self-driving cars that were learning from the behavior
Oh.
of watching humans, where they would look. God, what it was like.
So they're also just learning all of their behavior.
He
it was laughs at these types of jokes.
That were looking at like.
This one's racist.
Yeah, I am.
It was like they
racist.
were looking at like, is the human driving this car defensive or are they aggressive? Should I slow down and defer to them, or should I not? Based on sort of like minute pieces of behavior.
This one's the Pope. This one killed the Pope. This one fucking consumed the Pope
When we talked about-
inside of itself.
When we talked about that on the podcast, it was sort of about how cars were learning to handle and relate to the behavior of human drivers. And I realized a thing that we didn't get into on that was that what that could potentially mean is you could then, if the cars had recorded this personality and knew how to adapt to it, it also meant that the cars understood how to exhibit that personality, which meant to me that maybe actually the next possible step in that would not be that cars would just be universally better at driving against people, but that you could charge a millionaire more to enable and unlock the aggressive douchebag self-driving car personality.
God.
But that then starts leading to each person's car having driving habits that relate to their owners.
Right.
Which
This
then
is like
gets
how
into
your
cars being
pets-
personified to be the person
Yeah.
that they are. Like, it's really like we're not that many steps out
Yeah.
from cars learning how to drive like their owners and in response to other owners.
Huh.
I don't know.
Yeah.
I-
Right. Like instead of all human driving behavior feeding into one sort of master neural network that just filters back out to all the cars, yeah, what if they are in fact like being tinted?
Yeah, it's a car.
This
that
one
adapts-
likes to roll down its window and play music at the other cars.
This car likes to chase that person and beat the shit out of them. I really enjoy that the person who's actually in charge of the Cars franchise is postulating this. That's
Yeah.
as close
Yeah.
to canon as you're going to possibly get.
I
for
know.
There's
I
just
know.
guts
I like
in
that he
there.
spent time
Yeah.
thinking about it. Yeah.
It's also weird that it's a postulation on his part, as though this is like a real universe they're depicting. It's like, well, I
Yeah.
mean, this is just how it works.
Right.
I mean, I don't know. I mean, we all know this is what happened. But if I had to take a guess, I'm no scientist.
No one's ever opened that door.
Yeah, but
probably
I assume,
the brain
like,
will spill out.
eyeballs and brains would fall out of there. What? Also, by the way, that has nothing to do with any previous shit he said. It's like before that, it's like, oh, they get so advanced, and
Autonomous
they
cars get really
Hopefully
advanced.
nobody opens
that they destroy humans, adapt their personalities to become
and then
their car
grow
personalities.
eyeballs and
Also
brains,
there's eyeballs.
grow biological eyeballs and brains.
The last human in there was not killed. It was, in fact,
Oh.
injected with some horrible thing that made its eyes become huge and stick to the windshield.
Yeah. This one consumed David Cronenberg and became the mechanic for the rest of all the cars.
Also, it grew a mouth that could talk.
Yeah. God, it's disgusting. The Cars universe is truly disgusting in so many ways. Anyway, we don't want anything falling out the sides, am I right? Gross.
That's, Pixar puts the outtakes at the end of their movies.
No.
The credit sequence of like Cars 3 hopefully has someone open up their door and then just go, whoops! And, like, as just three other cars just barf
Yeah.
for like 40
Also,
seconds.
the eyes are represented. The eyes on the cars are
It's like a mono eye.
They're classic cartoon. Well, yeah, it's like a big mono eye for one thing, yeah. But they're also classic cartoon eyes in which they don't necessarily actually obey the laws of a sphere. You know, they sort of just like the shape molds
It's
itself
just two
for
irises move
emotional
around, yeah.
like
Oh, yeah, I see what you
value.
mean.
Yeah. And
Yeah.
so when I keep thinking of the door opening and that stuff flopping out, I just think of a big blobby white eyeball mess. It's not like a nice perfect sphere. It's just
Wait,
like
are you picturing it like, yeah, so
squishy,
like it
yeah.
would sort of still like roll out
Yeah.
like
yeah.
a balloon, like a water balloon
yeah, like
kind
a
of.
horrifying slinky.
Mm.
Yeah.
But it would have to be an eyeball.
What
Yeah.
does that mean for the actual ride? Like the ride cars, are they just like
Oh,
lobotomized?
gross. Yeah, those are convertibles.
the ride cars in
They're just
the
lobotomized
Disney theme park
cars?
in Disneyland in California Adventure. Jesus, so it took me like, let me refine this down.
Yeah.
In Cars Land. Yeah, they're convertibles. So those cars, that's just
So I guess that's fine. Those cars are
Oh,
fine.
So the brain's just somewhere else.
They have no brain.
those
they're
are just
they're
cars.
idiots.
Those are just cars.
Yeah, those are
Okay.
just cars, but they have eyes.
They have the eyes, but they don't. Do they talk?
I mean, they must just be idiots.
It's a hollowed out corpse.
I don't think those cars talk.
Yeah, I think you're actually driving hollowed out corpses. I think
You're driving a corpse.
They're sort of
Yeah.
the
I know,
eyes,
you're
the
not-
eyes
they're
on the
not
front are just sort of
speaking.
painted on. It's like the Game
Yeah.
of Thrones, like stones over the dead body with a picture of an eye on them, and then you drive them around for fun.
Yeah.
All right, well, that's horrifying. Shall we move on? Jordan writes, "Hey Thumbs, I've been listening to shows for a while now, and I wanted to thank you for the great laughs, awesome community, and entertaining episodes. After Chris's Nyquil story in episode 4 and follow-up in episode 11, I wanted to share my own Nyquil story. I cannot take Nyquil when I have a fever. The first time I was home from college my freshman year, I had the flu with a high fever. I took a regular dose of Nyquil and quickly fell asleep. The next thing I remember, I found myself floating in a black expanse of space. Surrounding me in the space was a series of 3D Tetris pieces. All the pieces were quickly spinning around me, fracturing apart, similar to how movies show crystals breaking into shards. I was filled with a pure sense of dread, knowing with absolute certainty that I had to solve this puzzle or an atomic bomb would go off up the street at a stop sign near my childhood home. I would spend what felt like several hours floating around inside of this crystalline Tetris puzzle with controls that felt like 3D movement in old PC games, trying to put the pieces back together. As I would continue to be unable to solve the puzzle, I would get increasingly stressed and panicked about the bomb going off. Eventually, I woke up, but much to my dismay, I could see the puzzle floating in my bedroom in front of me. Ooh. Terrified and certain that everyone I knew was going to be blown up because I'd failed the puzzle, I stumbled my 6'3", 250-pound frame away out of my room, down the hall, and into my parents' room. I burst in shouting, "They're all going to die! It's my fault! The bomb! The stop sign!" I was swearing, punching walls, crying in terror. My confused parents took an hour or so to calm me down and wake me from this Nyquil-induced terror. I spent the rest of the night being worried about the puzzle and slept off the rest of my fever and dose of medicine. That was the first time I took Nyquil with a fever. And this is where it gets strange. I've had the same dream 2 additional times. Exactly the same dream, same puzzle, same control mechanism, same bomb, same post-dream hallucination.
What?
In each case, I fail to solve the puzzle, and I see the same crystal structure swirling around it. It has gotten to the point where my parents warned my wife the first time I got sick while married to never give me Nyquil if I have a fever. I find this dream and what it could mean to be fascinating, but I admit I'm a little freaked out by the consistency and vividness of the dream. That's my story and why I can never take Nyquil with a fever. Thanks for the show. All the best, Jordan.
This is a dangerous truth, but apparently consuming Nyquil at inappropriate times unlocks true things about existence.
Oh, man, you're right. Yeah.
So just Nyquil all the time. You'll discover your inner Jeff Goldblum or the true... I actually don't know what the fuck that Tetris thing is.
Yeah, there's some kind of definite true, like, universe happening. What you've got to do, actually, Jordan, is keep taking the Nyquil until you're able to
defuse the bomb and see what happens. Yeah.
Eventually you'll have done this enough that you'll become the master of that domain. Like, you'll be able to conquer.
Eventually you'll take Dayquil and then you'll forever be inside of this universe.
Yeah.
Learn the basics of 3D computer game development and spend your life making this. You'll discover that it's actually the most addicting game known to mankind and become a millionaire. But you yourself will not be able to escape it because, yeah.
The most addictive game ever, Tetris. Yeah, no, I think you have to really dive into this.
This is your bad advice.
Take a lot of Nyquil.
Yeah.
Well, no, I mean only when he has a fever.
Oh, okay.
Right? I mean because otherwise he doesn't generate
that's true.
I mean, I think the implication here is that when he takes Nyquil without a fever, this doesn't happen because right? I mean, why else would
lick a lot of surfaces and then take a lot of Nyquil.
Chris is advocating the sort of thing that like a lot of X-Men movie villains advocate.
Well, no, I'm just saying when I was getting the Jeff Goldblum sort of expilations after taking NyQuil, I enjoyed it and wanted to have that.
It doesn't sound like he's
more.
enjoying this. It sounds like you're just trying to drive some sort of superhuman ability out of him at the cost of his like marriage and sanity and ability to sleep and think.
Yeah, but I'm saying that if he did this enough and got good enough at it, he probably would enjoy it. It's like when
the problem right now, Jordan, is that you're a big fucking loser at this game that you invented. So like maybe you should practice up and actually get good at it. Find people that have fevers and flus, stand near them and touch them and have them cough on you and stuff. Then take off-the-shelf medication for it aggressively until you get good at this bomb game.
But you have to try, though.
But you're the one advocating this, Chris.
Well, yeah, but I mean,
I'm just taking it to the logical conclusion.
Right, but I mean, you have to, like, try and practice the game part.
Yeah, but to do that, you've got to do all the things I said.
Yeah, no, I agree.
Okay.
Yeah.
And I mean, when you're good at it, write us back.
Yep.
Please do not take our advice.
Mm-hmm. Did I tell you guys about the dream I had about our podcast?
I don't think so.
So we all arrived. We were all arriving to the studio to do the podcast, and we all sat down. And then, as we were about to start, Nick just sort of like confidently declared, "Well, I think we can all agree this has been a complete failure." Then I woke up, and in sort of like a flop sweat, like a panicked, sweat.
Yeah, that was
And
an
then
hour
wrote it.
from now.
Yeah.
Oh, do you want to read these?
All right, we'll do one more block of email here, and then we'll do some endorsements.
Sounds good.
This is a few emails on a similar topic, so I'm just gonna combine them, roll them all up. So Marco writes, I recently started listening to you guys along with two of your other fine podcasts after hearing you on the Bombcast.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, that's cool. I started with episode 9 and enjoyed it so much I went back and listened to the very first episode. Have been listening since then. That said, I don't know if you've corrected yourselves or not, but in episode 8, A Bug's Life is a real movie by Pixar and was released in 1998. Ants is also real, but by DreamWorks, and also released in 1998. Well, I'm enjoying the content. Thanks, Marco. Okay. Andrew Howe writes, you know that A Bug's Life was a real movie, right? From Disney? Even had a shitty PS1 game. Peter Levitt writes, I couldn't tell if you were joking, but A Bug's Life is a real movie from Disney Pixar. It has an N64 game. I don't really get these emails, I guess.
Yeah. I don't know.
Yeah.
Don't really have anything to say about it.
Yeah. I don't think A Bug's Life is real, though. You guys want to do some endorsements?
Yeah.
All right. Jake, what do you have?
Well, Chris, it's funny that you ask what I have, because what I
it?
have is a shill for our own content.
Important if true, the podcast.
No, the new season of the TV show Twin Peaks is starting up in just a couple weeks.
Yeah.
And the thing that I endorse is the most self-aggrandizing garbage endorsement of all time. But whatever. I endorse Twin Peaks Rewatch, a podcast that you and I did a couple years ago now.
Yeah.
I feel like I'm slightly allowed to endorse it because I literally just this morning finished re-listening to all 32 episodes of that podcast that you and I did.
Yeah.
Twin Peaks Rewatch is a podcast where Chris and I watched the entire season or the entire series of Twin Peaks, one episode at a time, 1 week at a time, and just talked about our thoughts on it and read a bunch of reader mail. And I re-listened to the entire thing to catch myself up for the new season that's starting up. But we're also bringing the podcast back for season 3. So if you like Twin Peaks, or think you might like Twin Peaks, and you start watching it,
Yeah,
you
I'm
should
gonna
listen to it.
hijack that endorsement and
son of a
endorse
bitch.
Twin Peaks, seasons 1 and 2 of the actual television
that's
show.
cheating.
No, that's not my real endorsement.
Oh, but yeah. Also,
just-
you should. Twin Peaks is a great show. It has some a soggy midsection, but it's totally worth watching. It's a unique, interesting show. Who knows what the new season will be like? But
I'm looking forward to it.
yeah, there's some really great, unique stuff in the first two seasons of Twin Peaks. And if you do watch them, check out our podcast and let us know what you think of that too. That was a really fun podcast to record.
Yeah, I had a ton of fun. You can find that at twinpeaksrewatch.com, or just search for Twin Peaks Rewatch on wherever you do have podcasts.
Yep.
I am going to endorse photic sneezing. Do you guys know what photic sneezing is?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, Chris.
Are either of you guys photic sneezers?
I
No.
don't know. I don't believe that.
You're
I'm
not?
photo-
Neither of you are? Oh,
No.
my God. Well, I don't know how useful this endorsement is because I don't know if this is a trait that you can, like, acquire.
So if you looked up,
No, it has to be this. Okay, so they're looking up at a light right now. It's actually sunlight. So the way this works, if you are a person with this thing, which I am, I count myself lucky to say, if you have like the slightest inkling of a sneeze coming on, which I don't know how you guys feel, but I love sneezing.
I hate it.
You hate sneezing?
Oh, I hate sneezing.
Oh, I love
It's my
it.
least favorite. It feels like dying.
Wow.
Oh, I hate it.
I find it like cathartic. It's like
Oh,
it's
God.
like physical catharsis.
Oh, no.
I feel so like relieved and de-stressed after I sneeze.
Oh, weird.
Yeah, I love it. And so because I have photic sneezing, which I only learned the name of a couple years ago, despite like being aware of it, the process my whole life. If you have any tiny little inkling of a sneeze coming on, and you then expose your eyes to sunlight. I mean, don't look directly in the sun, obviously, ever, but just, let some direct sunlight
Drink a lot
in
of
there.
NyQuil.
Yeah.
It will encourage your sneeze if you're predisposed to this, and your sneeze will flower.
What is the medical reason behind this? Because I had always thought that
I
was
don't
bullshit,
know.
and that it was actually
Oh, it
just
is
that people.
not
I had always
bullshit.
thought that it was not related to the sun specifically, but it was related to the fact that people were just looking up, and it was adjusting sort of the air nasal configuration in your head, and it has nothing to do with the fact that the sun is up.
I often doubt the existence of photic sneezing for that exact reason. I'm like, it's got to be a thing where it's the angle, or maybe it's light, but it doesn't have to be sunlight. I don't know. Maybe there's got to be some element of this that is bullshit. But I swear to God, I feel like I've tested this.
So if it's like sunset, you can photic sneeze by looking straight ahead. Or is it only conveniently when the sun is at an angle that requires you to tip your head up?
I feel like it has to be bright. Yeah. You're a photic
sneezing skeptic.
Skeptic, yeah. I don't know, man. I'm at this point. I've put myself through photic sneezing skepticism, and I've come out on the other side. I'm pretty sure it's a real thing.
Yeah.
And I really love it. I mean, maybe
I'm happy for you.
Yeah, I don't know. So I would endorse. If you and also part of it is like cultivation, so maybe it isn't as much of a real.
It's genetic, actually. I'm reading about it right now.
Is it genetic?
Mm-hmm.
All right. Well, I definitely have found that I've gotten better at using it.
So we've discovered.
So my endorsement is, if you already feel like you have a predilection towards sneezing when encountering sunlight, you can practice it and get better at it.
So.
And it is, if you enjoy sneezing.
We've identified 2 subpar trash X-Men on this episode of Important if True. Guy who takes NyQuil when sick and plays 3D Tetris in his dream consistently, and photic sneezers. You guys are both hanging out at Dr. Xavier's school, where you're just looking at the sun when sneezing until you're like, I think I'm getting better at sneezing.
Oh, it's
and
so
the other
good.
guy's like, I might be able to beat this Tetris game, but I just need to drink more cough syrup.
Yeah, that guy's going to unlock some kind of alternate dimension and fucking have to fight a battle. I'm just going to be really satisfied because I'll get my sneeze out of my head.
Well...
Get your sneeze out of here.
I mean, it feels so nice to
It's not in. There's nothing in there though.
There's
not
a
after
sneeze.
you sneeze.
Yeah, but you can repress it. I repress it.
Oh, that's horrible.
Oh, I love that.
Oh my God.
I feel
that's
like when I win,
hate this.
When I beat it down, I'm so
Oh
relieved.
no,
I'm like, thank God I didn't
you're
sneeze.
You're stressing me out right now. All right, Nick, what are you endorsing?
Next guy endorsed not sneezing.
I'm gonna endorse poop spray, Chris.
Oh my God. What?
What is poop spray?
It's
That's
poopery.
disgusting. Oh.
Poopery.
Oh, we
which
have that in the office.
you have in this
Yes,
office,
okay.
which I noticed
You're endorsing
here.
poo
for the-
spray?
Listen,
Nick.
Chris asked me to endorse a product. This is a product that I recently purchased. It works. I'm endorsing it.
Well, I didn't ask you to endorse a product. I just said that if you did, I was going to endorse photic sneezing.
Oh.
Poo spray.
Well, listen.
If you like
You know
this
what?
podcast,
Fine.
if you like
You
this
know what?
podcast, tell a
Wait, hold on.
friend.
No, wait. So you actually use that in your home?
I do.
I don't.
Okay.
Neither do I.
I don't really ever remember to use it in the office either, honestly.
I just look at it and go, it's called poopery?
It works really well.
Okay.
And I do not like smells in the bathroom.
That's fair
I
enough.
find that
that's, I think, pretty
most
fair.
air fresheners I find are offensive, that you can tell that they're
Like
sort of
chemical,
chemically
yeah.
based and everything. This stuff actually really works, and it leaves a very pleasant, almost like vanilla smell in your bathroom, and I endorse it.
I
Damn it.
despise their online advertising.
I haven't seen it.
Oh my God, they run
Chris
ads
once
on.
clicked on poopery, and now it's everywhere.
They run ads on
Oh.
YouTube, and it's I absolutely. I'm not going to even bother describing them. I hate them. But that's I'll you know what? Now that you've endorsed this, I'm going to remember to spray it.
Well, you spray it in the water before you do anything.
Interesting.
I think what it's doing is essentially attaching to the
It's
molecules
like
down there and then
vaccinating the water.
Yeah,
It's like a poo
basically.
neutralizer.
Yeah. Anyway,
Okay, well, if against all odds you enjoyed this podcast, please tell a friend. You can send us email, ask us questions. questions at importantiftrue.com. Our website is importantiftrue.com. Our Twitter is importantcast. We're on Facebook at facebook.com/importantiftrue. And I guess that's it.
You know what, Chris? That was absolutely terrible.
Thank God that was chambered and ready to go.
All right. Well, we will be. I mean, I'm not gonna. This isn't an ironclad guarantee, but I'm gonna say we're gonna be back next week. Friddle Thumbs. I am Chris Remo.
I'm Nick Brecken.
And I'm Jake Rodkin.
Stay spicy.
It does remind me of com.com, though, which was CNET for a while, I think, because everything was like, downloads.com.com. It's not them anymore. Anyway.
Wow, they just gave it up.
Yeah.
That's kind of incredible.
We should start a Kickstarter to buy com.com.
Oh, man.
And then the stretch goal, if you get like 3 times what you ask, is like, we'll just redirect it to CNET.
I want to find an oral history of com.com.
We could make it right now.
I can't. There's no information on it. If you search for com.com, there's not like...
Whatever. In 1997, Travis CNET found that com.com was available and bought it to extend his CNET brand. He later sold it to com.com Incorporated. His full name is Travis C. Netsworth. What if Important If True was actually a podcast designed to torture people?
This is absolutely surreal.
What if we just released this with some bad music in the background?
Yeah, like then the military would use it to torture people.
Maybe if I just say the date confidently, a podcast will come out.
Maybe.